Welcome, everybody, to Black Belt Investors. And tonight's topic is going to be 2021 Cleveland Real Estate Market Investing Forecast. Tonight's going to be a night of more of a statistics and what's really happening in the market, the shifts and changes, the real estate news and trends that everybody's kind of wondering about, especially if it's going to be an area where you're thinking about investing or currently already investing and want to know what's going on. And I just returned from Cleveland early this morning, so I'm now back in Southern California. Welcome to the heat. But just got back this morning. I was there for a little over a week's time and doing a little moving and shaking over in the Cleveland market. And glad to be back. And I'll be back out there next month as well. And then also in September for our investors tour, which we haven't had in about a year and a half's time due to, yeah, well, that little virus thing that's going around. But again, if you're still joining us, welcome to Black Belt Investors. And let's go ahead and get started with the 2021 Cleveland Real Estate Market Investing Forecast. Now, I don't know if you know, but Cleveland is the second largest city of Ohio. And the population somewhere right around a 400,000. That's in the, basically in the metro area or the downtown area. But all of Cleveland is just over 2 million residents. And that the largest city really that just sits on Lake Erie. And Cleveland is also part of Cuyahoga County, if you're unfamiliar with that. So Cuyahoga County is the county that sits right on Lake Erie, and Cleveland resides in Cuyahoga County. It's also the Buckeye State, the second largest county in Ohio, and home to over 1.2 million people. All told, that the greater Cleveland region is ranked the 33rd largest metropolitan area in the country. So I don't know if you know or not, but the city's location is near the mouth of Cuyahoga River and close proximity to canals and railroads, which made it major manufacturing hub in its early days. Now we all know that the northeast, the Midwest area is known as the steel rust belt of the area, right? Because they did a lot of steel and oil. Well, be able to have that hub right there in the southern part of Lake Erie had made it very convenient to move both oil and steel and other products and commodities across the lakes there. So today, the city really reflects more of a diverse economy than it did in yesteryear, which would include, healthcare, education, technology, and financial services. So, in addition to the industry, Cleveland is also a hub for the arts and culture, which most people don't know unless you're in that sphere. Playhouse Square is the country's second largest performing arts center. Now, we all know that Broadway in New York is the first, but Cleveland is number two. And the Cleveland Museum of Art is also one of the most popular museums in the world. It's also known for being a big town for sports, with the Cavaliers, the Browns, the Indians, all being played with in the downtown area as major pro sports teams. Cleveland's nickname is the Forest City, and that's really an integral part of the Cleveland Metro Parks Nature Reserve System. So if you're into hiking and biking and walking and fishing and all that great stuff, man, there is park after park. I mean, big reserves in the Cuyahoga County area, all riddled throughout downtown. So if you're thinking about investing in Cleveland, here's what you really need to know. Cleveland ranked number 5 on the list of 15 cities where the housing market is booming despite being in the middle of that global pandemic. And then using the housing data from Zillow, that includes changes in home values over the last 5 years, as well as data from Redfin, including a number of home sales and available inventory. Forbes created the list of housing markets to watch in 2021. And according to, compiled data, and that's available for sale, inventory stood about 8,364 homes last October 2019. And a number of barely changed from October 2018's inventory was around 8,700. So not a huge change between 2018 to 2019. However, in October 2020, Cleveland's inventory was down by 4,876. Nearly half of that inventory has evaporated to home buyers and investors. Taking the number one spot, you might be asking yourself, was Boise, Idaho, which I absolutely love. And coming in last, Omaha, Nebraska, where Mr. Warren Buffett lives. Now, Zillow is talking and reports that Cleveland home values rose 19.7% in 2020. Of course, the data hasn't come out for 2021 yet, but as of last December, all of 2020 took a shot up 19.7%. So you investors that invested with me starting, 10 years ago, you're doing really well, aren't you? Even just a few years ago, your property's values have jumped up dramatically. Fox Business has ranked Cleveland as the second most affordable housing market in America this year. Fox quotes an average housing listing price at $140,000. And that's second to Detroit, Michigan, and Toledo, Ohio, and Kansas City, Kansas, which all made the top 10 list. Even though Fox reports that the average listing price at 140,000 in Cleveland, those same properties that Fox is talking about, we sell for about $100,000 to $120,000 for the same house turnkey in that type of neighborhood. Now, as part of Cleveland's larger $1 billion initiative, 50 million of that has quickly specifically been slated for pulling in new residents and workers who are fleeing New York, California, and other unfriendly and higher cost locations that seem to be purposely driving out property owners and businesses, like California would be one of them. So we're seeing exodus of people leaving states that just is not affordable to live in anymore. And there's many destinations like Boise, Idaho. Well, that's one of the biggest reasons why it ranked number one. Texas is another one. Florida, Arizona, Nevada. But those that are going into the tech scene or going to the medical scene or government jobs, you know where they're headed? You got it, right over to Cleveland. Well, there's some sources that have put this number as low as 35%. There's a company called Town Charts, and they do data. Town Chart says it shows 58.4% of Cleveland residents are renters. So there's a higher percentage of renters than homeowners in the Cleveland market. Now, that 58.4% was actually much higher. So we've had a shift in the past, 8 years that we've had more home buyers jumping on board, picking up properties. And so it has now lowered to the 58.4%. But that's also great news for property rental owners, right? We're investors, we're landlords. We need people to rent. So we've got a really good blend of this working class community or county, I should say, where we really don't have any issues getting properties rented at a really good value. So there's a high demand, which means higher occupancy, which means a higher occupancy and more choices for, picking the right tenant for your property. Now, if you thought Ohio was just some small cornfield covered Midwestern state, the latest stats might really just wake you up. I mean, there's a lot of talks of striving to create a billion-dollar companies in Silicon Valley. Yet, in 2020 alone, more than 34 billion in homes traded hands in Ohio, according to the State National Realtors Association. Realtors also said that as people really began to gain the ability to work from home last year, the most demand seemed to show up in the suburbs of Cleveland, and especially in areas that we invest in, like Maple Heights and Garfield Heights. So, neighborhoods where families can find affordable 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom homes with yards. And that has been our target at Black Belt Investors for the last 10 years over in the Cleveland market. Now, according to Ohio Realtors Association, the average house price in the state is now up to 209,945 bucks, basically 210,000. Remember, Fox reported 140 average listing price, but Ohio Realtors Association, and I'll repeat it, their average house price is now 210,000. That's all of Ohio. We're not talking about Cleveland, but that's all of Ohio. Well, it's just around half of the average cost of a new home in 2021, according to Statista. It's another organization that or firm that does a lot of stats across the states. I don't know if you look, but the average home price in the states is right around 360, $370,000. Ohio, 210, but Cleveland is actually less. There are much cheaper deals around the Cleveland market. And if you have great connections and know where to look, you can score those deals. Now, there are more real estate agents in America than there are houses to sell, according to Morningstar. Kind of weird, isn't it? There's more real estate agents in America than there's actually houses to sell, according to Morningstar. At the beginning of February of 2021, there were only 1.04 million homes for sale in the US. But there were 1.45 million realtors who were members of the National Association of Realtors. Hmm. And there's probably many, many more than that if you count real estate agents who are not members of NAR. That means that there may not be enough deals out there for each agent to make one sale per year. So, on average, NAR, which means National Association of Realtors, reports its members make about $40,000 per year. You guys got that? Real estate or realtors make an average of about $40,000 per year. And that drops to just $8,900 for those that have been in the business for 2 years or less. Good time to be a real estate agent? It's a struggle, isn't it? But that doesn't mean you should not get your license if that's what you want to pursue, because there's going to be a time where those numbers just flip, right? But it's not now. And that's just, far less the minimum wage once you start crunching out all the numbers. So, in-depth research, according to the U.S. housing market by J.P. Morgan, J.P. Morgan claims that there's very little fundamental basis to be concerned about, a major nationwide correction. Breaking it down into real detail, J.P. Morgan highlights virtually all the risk from high prices. Rapid growth and high prices, despite expanding supply, are almost exclusively restrained to the coastal markets like New York and California. The exceptions might be Denver and Las Vegas. But to compare the strength and the safety of those markets, JP Morgan reports that prices per square foot in San Francisco are now 10 times higher than Cleveland. And you know what? I started doing my own research, and it's not 10 times. It's actually higher. It's more like 25 times than Cleveland and 10 times to Ohio. Manhattan price per square foot, just under San Francisco by a hair. I mean, those are the priciest markets, which may now also have been the most oversupply and the least appeal. So for those wanting security and peace of mind, that means the potential for buying 10 to 20 times as much property in Cleveland compared to those riskier coastal markets. No wonder why I have so many investors from California and New York. Also, according to Redfin, which we're very familiar with, homes in Cleveland are now selling at an average in just 38 days. That's down almost 25% from last year. They're moving. These houses are flying. Why? Because people have woken up and figured out that Cleveland is an extremely affordable place to buy, whether you're a home buyer or an investor. Think about it. Didn't I just mention earlier your national average was between 360 and 370? 360,000, $370,000 national average. California is nearly 700,000, but you can go buy that same house in the same type of neighborhood in Cleveland for about 100 grand. You're two-thirds below the national median, more than two-thirds, right? So median home prices and sales volume is up about 30% from last year. Some have called this market like Orlando almost a decade ago. And I can guarantee most of you on this evening wish you would have bought Orlando 10 years ago. And now these same people are predicting ongoing growth for the next 5 to 7 years. Today, Cleveland really offers an incredible combination of being an emerging destination with strong fundamentals. Just some of the highlights include income properties ranging from the $70,000 price point, with rent to price ratios often over double what investors are finding across the rest of America. I mean, there is over $19 billion in new development in the works from the rebirth of downtown to infrastructure. And it's becoming a hot magnet for millennials because of businesses and job opportunity. So, what's in Cleveland? Well, here it is. It is definitely one of the chief ports of the Great Lakes that functions as a major transportation hub for shipping, long distance trucking, and railroad traffic out of the Midwest. 50% of the country's population is in within 500 miles of Cleveland. Isn't that crazy? 50% of the country's population, all within 500 miles of Cleveland. And those are 60% of the nation's Fortune 500 companies. So there's a lot of things happening up in the Northeast, isn't there? And at least eight Fortune 1,000 companies have their headquarters here. So today, our investors are really finding many of the best deals and profits really on the south and east side, including Waterloo District, Collinwood, Euclid, Warrensville, Maple, and Garfield Heights, as I just mentioned earlier. But what we're really targeting is not just the Cleveland area. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but all this grayish area here, this is like, large city. And if I were to, well, I don't have a borderline, but majority of this grayish area where in the Cleveland area, that's Cuyahoga County. But you can see off to the far left, there's a red rectangle in a portrait style. Lorraine and Elyria, we're buying properties over there. That's about a 35-minute drive to downtown Cleveland. The big box down south, that's Akron. Akron's another large city. And from, Garfield Heights to Akron, that's a 20-minute drive. And then over off to the east side, just southeast of Cleveland, is Warren, Newton Falls, and Niles, which I was just at Niles yesterday. Those areas over there also offer opportunity to home buyers and landlords alike. The prices don't change much at all between these four areas. Rents change a little bit, but not much. The demand doesn't change that much either. But we have expanded our territory to Cleveland, Lorraine, Elyria, all over Akron, Warren, Niles, Girard, Newton Falls. Those areas there, we got our focus. Now, Cleveland is really famous for history of firsts. famous for history of first creating wealth. You have John D. Rockefeller, the wealthiest American of all time, the richest person in modern history, founded his Standard Oil empire in Cleveland. He was a heavyweight real estate investor himself. It was the first city to demonstrate street lighting. That's right, Edison, street lighting. And the public square became the first outdoor public space in the country to be fully lit by electricity. Did you know that? Pretty cool, huh? Cleveland's Baker Motor Vehicle Company was building electric cars as far back as 1899, well before anyone had heard of Elon Musk. It sold Thomas Edison his first car, and it was the place, the birth of having seat belts for the very first time in the car and being able to reach speeds over 75 miles per hour. Now, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this type of stuff. I find it fascinating, you know, but if I'm investing in Cleveland, I want to know what the history was and why it was such a wealthy time at one point and why it died down and why it's being revived again. Cleveland is also home to this building. It's beautiful, isn't it? Which is believed to be the nation's first indoor shopping mall. It's a popular spot for weddings. I mean, you cannot go there on a Friday or Saturday and not have some sort of wedding or reception going on in there. And now that whole place is operated by Hyatt, the hotel. So there's been plenty of times, not all the times, that when we have our investor tour, we'll stay right here. So you can see those upper three levels, all hotel rooms, lower levels, all shopping. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's one of my favorite spaces to stay when I do a tour. Now, Cleveland's economy is really in great shape. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as of July 7th, 2021, the local unemployment rate was only 5.1%. Wages had grown by over 2.5% year over year, with a weekly average of $1,319. That's about $26 per hour when you figure it out. You know what the US average per hour is? 27 bucks. So they're a dollar shy of the average of the United States. And all of these stats straight from the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Cleveland attracts over 19.2 million visitors a year. Now, I remember when I was first doing these sessions about Cleveland, I don't know, about 8 years ago or so, it was right around 14 million or so. And now it's grown up to 19 million visitors a year. And it's home to over 700 biotech and biomedical companies and has housing 388% cheaper than San Francisco. As one of the top healthcare cities in the United States, with Cleveland Clinic ranking number 2. See that photo on the right of Cleveland Clinic? 7 years ago, that photo that you see right there, if we were to change it out, was nothing but boarded up houses and multi units and gang riddled and just the dumps of the dumps. Looked like a movie set. It was so bad. But Cleveland Clinic and many other small to large businesses came in and revitalized everything. That's absolutely gorgeous today. The top employers in Cleveland include Cleveland Clinic, UA Hospitals, Sherwin-Williams makes its home here, Case Western University, Nestle, and Progressive. Cleveland is growing. Truly is. I mean, commercial occupancy rates are nearly at 90%, and residential occupancy rates are almost just 96%. That's all of Cuyahoga County. The downtown population grew by 40% last year. And many new projects are in the works. I mean, it is building itself out with new construction. 63% of downtown Cleveland residents are millennials. This is what Cleveland was after. Give great tax incentives to small and big business. Revitalize the downtown area and gear it towards millennials. So they'll want to come down here and shop and live and spend money and reside because of all the new jobs that have come to Cleveland. Many are highly educated graduates from local universities with high earning potential. They may not be in the peak home buying years yet, but you know what? They're really driving great demand for rentals. They truly are. We rent to many nurses and techs. And I don't know if you know, but Cleveland rocks. That white building that you see right there, that is sits on Lake Erie, and that is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, one of the top music and concert venues in the country. Throughout the summer, in front of that building, they're always throwing concerts, big name bands too. The food scene is phenomenal, and it's running over with specialty. Whole town's really running over with specialty coffee shops and sushi and delicious barbecue, like you know Lola or Mabel's, I should say, owned by Michael Simon, and owned by other Lola being owned by another Iron Chef. Cleveland's got sports, as I mentioned before, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and this photo here is just a few years ago when Cleveland Cavaliers won the championship. No matter what your sport is, Cleveland's got it. In the winter, you've got endless outdoor activities, and they turn the downtown area into a little ice skating, just like they do over in New York. It's absolutely beautiful. So whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall, there's always entertainment going on. And you can see here in the summertime, you've got the public square that was an ice rink turned into a little pool for the kids. It's freaking awesome. When the sun goes down, you can cruise in after a day on your boat and dine in the water. This is called the Flats. You can hit the casino at Jack's Casino, or attend local real estate investor meetings like I did a week ago. Forbes says Cleveland is hot as a tech hub for venture capital firms and successful startups. Entrepreneur.com ranks it better than San Francisco, better than Boston, better than Seattle, and better than New York. This is the place to be for new business owners. It truly is. Millennials looking for a great place to live and work, and for real estate investors from all over the country who want better investment returns and safer investments, Cleveland is the destination. Cleveland real estate boasts some of the best profits in the world. I mean, the average price per square foot is about $69, with an average home price of just over $110,000 in the Cleveland area. Rents average about $1,157 per month. And that makes these properties well above the famous 1% rule, if you're familiar with that. If not, Google 1% rule. Now, that means you can get a house just like this in a good neighborhood, turnkey, ready for a renter for about $90,000 and earn about 8.5% in returns. And put an extra $613 net cash flow per month in your pocket. Net cash flow meaning after all your expenses of insurance and management and taxes and things like that. That's pretty darn good, isn't it? Or go over and get a house over in Akron and earn 9%, just like this two-bedroom house, two-bedroom, one-bath house here. You're putting in just a little about $6,500 in net cash flow in your pocket each year. Now that's a true passive investment. Really, investing in Cleveland real estate means passive income, cash flow, long term wealth building, wealth preservation, and great returns. Now, we make investing in Cleveland extremely easy. Remote Rehabs, which is a service of Black Belt Investors, offers really the best way to find, acquire, renovate, rent, and generate great returns and passive income from real estate. We find it, we fix it, we rent it, and you profit. It's really an all turnkey, all done for you. So if you want to find out more about how this works, then screenshot this and go to remoterehabs.com. And it has a step by step process, exactly what to expect. And you can take a look at a lot of the example properties that we're currently rehabbing that's on the market. Now, one of the absolute best ways to check out new destinations and get into investments is just really get your boots on the ground with the Ultimate Investors Property Tour. I mean, we run two tours in Cleveland per year, and they're always selling out in advance. So it's a perfect way to discover the city, get introduced to off market deals, see the work in action, the acquisition, the rehab, meet the local power team that works with Black Belt investors to help you succeed, and have a lot of fun with other investors just like you. So we've got a tour coming up September 11th. That is our tour, September 11th. So we're just, maybe 6 weeks away? Well, you want to go over to blackbeltinvestors.com/events and click on the Ultimate Investor Tour to get the details. You can register right there online. But don't wait to the last minute because more than likely we're going to have to put you on a waiting list. So you should do it ASAP. Now, if you want more information like this, check out the whole armory of additional resources at blackbeltinvestors.com. Go to the dojo, see where it says enter the dojo, click on that because it's going to have anywhere from short videos to tutorials to hour long to 2 hour long educational sessions teaching you about how to invest in real estate. Anywhere from wholesaling to fix and flipping to lease options to buy and hold rentals. Super, super cool. So take advantage of that. You want to learn more about asset protection? It's on there. You need legal agreements? It's in the dojo. There's templates that you can use. Super cool. It's just like Netflix for investors. So take a look at the dojo. Also, you might want to take a look at the affiliate partner program. And that's for investors that want to boost their income, that want to flip properties, but really don't want to do all the work. And they allow black belt investors to do the work and you make the profits. That's really awesome as well. Want to know more? Just send us an email. We'd be happy to give you more information about it. You also want to check out our live events. We're going to have live events starting with the tour, and then we'll have a couple more throughout the fall and winter of 2021. Crossing fingers they COVID won't, heat up and shut everything down again. But we have plans in the works to have live events once more. So we're really looking forward to that. Or just simply go to that tab right there where it says investing and download your free ebook about remote rehabs. Whatever you want, Cleveland's got it. More cash flow, more passive income so you can retire, better returns on your money, real wealth building, and a proven destination for building a legacy. I mean, you can have it all in Cleveland. So come meet us in Cleveland, September 11th. Check out the best property deals in the country, turn up your returns, enjoy the food and fun, and let us do the hard work so you can earn more. Or just pick up the phone and start adding more high return properties to your portfolio. You don't have to go to Cleveland to invest. Now, whether you still have questions, well, I'm going to give you a few moments tonight for you to type in your question. I'd be more than happy to answer them. So you should have a little Q&A chat bubble or section on your panel right there. And you could just type in your question, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. So whether you have questions, we can get them answered tonight, or you want to ask questions, you can email or call us. You're more than welcome to, call in for a one-time free consultation. So once you have a consultation, we tag your file that you had your free consultation. So I strongly recommend that you write down all the questions that you have so that we can optimize your time together. Call in, schedule it so that you and I or another can get on the phone with you and talk about your goals and see if we can start putting some stepping stones to help you reach those goals. All right. So, what I'd like to do now is if you have any questions, please type them in your box. And while I take a sip of water, I'm going to come right back to your questions and get them answered for you. Okay, let me open up the question box. All right. Yeah, there's a question here. Sorry, I didn't have the date on the screen, I don't think, right? I did not. It is September 11th. That's a Saturday. So you probably should do, Mike, is that if you want to go on the tour, get registered. There is a fee for the tour. It's $97 per person. If you want to add your spouse, then it's just an extra $50 so 147 for you and your spouse. Once you register, then we will send you out a registration form, and we'll also provide you with traveling instructions. Traveling is on your own. Everybody's coming from four corners of the United States to meet in Cleveland. Traveling is on your own. But Mike, here's what I was going to get to. Okay, what I was going to say is that you want to probably spend a little extra time. Don't get there super late Friday. Join us Saturday. Have a full day from 8:30 in the morning until 11 at night, because we'll start off at 9 o'clock, hour and a half. We'll have a strategy session, and then we'll jump on a bus, and we'll probably won't return until to Cleveland until about 6:30 in the evening. But then we'll all go out to dinner. We get a banquet room, and we just have a little networking session, have some fun and food and drinks. And so we usually wrap it up around 11 o'clock. That's optional, of course. But I always tell everybody, you know what? Spend some time out there. Get out there and investigate for yourself. Drive around the market. Walk. Downtown is so friendly that you can walk just about anywhere and, run into a stadium or a park or a museum or something, and just, relax and go out to the Amish towns and enjoy the country drive. I mean, it's truly, truly phenomenal. So yes, once again, September 11th. Let me get the next question here. Oops, sorry, I clicked out of the screen. Let me get back. Sorry about that. My bad. All right, here we go. Okay, are you linked up with property management over there? Ray, yes. We always have property management. We're not new to this game. We've been doing this I've been in the business for 26 years, investing from coast to coast. And for that, we've been offering investment properties to people just like yourself for the last 21 years. We do have property management out there. Property management is at a discount. Property management typically charges 10% of the gross rents, plus they have a startup fee known as an admin fee, which is usually about half of the first month's rent. And they have all these marketing fees. Property management over there for us, since we bring volume, is really simple. It's 8% of the gross rents. There is no admin or startup fees, and they will take care of everything from A to Z, from finding, from marketing to screening tenants and applications and running background checks and, communicating with you to decide which is the best tenant for your property, to collecting, rents and putting together statements, the whole works. So yes. So yeah, everything is there for you. Okay. Great question, Ray. Thanks. Emma is asking, is the tour one day only? Yes, Emma, it is. It's just one day. It's a full day. So I would say get there no later than Friday. Saturday, we're going to spend all day. And if you have to get back, for Monday, then I guess you'll depart, sometime Sunday. Here's the cool thing. You don't really need to rent a car unless you want to. The airport is about a 25-minute drive from downtown, but there is a train that's just a straight shot from the airport to downtown, and they drop you off. It's about $2, I think, one way, and the hotel's only like 2, maybe 3 blocks away. So stretch your legs after that long flight. Or if you want to rent a car, you can. But it is a 1-day tour, and we'll spend all day together. All right. Next question is from Jeffrey. Cleveland and Akron had flat population growth over the last 8 years. Is that a concern? I wouldn't say it's a flat population growth. Um, the Akron area has definitely been a flat population growth. Cleveland has not. Cleveland was actually on the decline, and now they are on the incline due to the jobs. So that's not what we're experiencing. If it was a flat population growth, then or a decline, we would not have such low numbers in vacancy rates, and we would not have such a demand for rental properties and a demand for resale. And a demand, it's like over 63% increase for building permits. Building permits meaning building new homes. So we wouldn't have that if it was in a decline or flat. So that's not what we're experiencing at all. Um, Ray says, very nice. That's my biggest concern since it's out of state. Well, I think that's probably everybody's biggest concern, to be honest with you. You know, people feel that a little feel uneasy if they're not used to investing outside of their area because they can't drive by the property, they can't knock on the door if they don't, because it's not in distance, right? But Ray, let me ask you this. Have you invested in stocks before? Mutual funds, 401ks? Have you done that before? Have you ever seen them? Have you ever gone knocked on the door? Can you sit down at the round table of Coca-Cola and speak to the CEO? See where I'm going with this? so so it's if people are trained to invest in those types of investments which they can't touch, feel, or visit for that matter, and hence the reason why banks don't lend money on those types of investments, but banks will lend money on real estate. Why? Because it's a tangible asset. They understand that it's a lot more safe and sustainable than the stock market. Make sense? So if you ever wanted to go visit your property, right, you can. And the cool thing is, it's a tax deduction, right? Airfare, renting car, lodging, uh, eating, dining, all tax deduction because you are visiting your real estate in whatever town you decide to purchase in. All right. Going to register ASCP, Ray says. Fantastic. We look forward to getting together on that. And yes, I'm an options trader. Nothing wrong with stocks. Listen, I have a pension plan. I invest in mutual funds and stocks. I don't just do real estate. I own other businesses that are non-real estate related. And I love the diversity. But I'm just trying to make a point. You'll invest in options, but again, you can't go knock on that door, can you? All right. I think I hit all the questions. Oh, there was one here. Says census based on census data, there's no house value appreciation. Well, the median house value was 71,000, 2,000, and it's still the same. And that's incorrect. And census data only every 10 years. You know that, right? So here's the thing. It when that data, so census data is very slow. Very slow. Okay. So not that it's inaccurate, it's just slow. So was the home value in 2071? I don't know. Or 71,000 in the year 2000? I don't know. But I can tell you this, in the year 2005, 6, I can go buy a property for $130,000 in Garfield Heights that I mentioned earlier. 10 years ago, I was buying them for $30,000. And today they range between $90,000 and $125,000. Now, Census data slow. I'm in the market every single day for the last 10 years. So no, in my that's not the same observation that I have. And that's why we don't really use the census data. Not that it's inaccurate, it's just slow. Okay, great questions. Why do you prefer Cleveland over Columbus? Great question. So Columbus is a very hot market right now, just like Cleveland. Cincinnati too. So is Dayton. Now, now Columbus is a very good market to invest in. I'm not going to knock Columbus, but I also found that over the last decade, being in Ohio, because I was also in the Toledo market and I was also working Dayton as well, is that when I was comparing between Cleveland and Columbus, Cleveland was actually a little bit less in property price and higher in rent. That's why. I also opted to go to Cleveland because Cleveland was in more despair than Columbus. Now, that would say, well, that's why I wouldn't invest there. But I also knew what the governor at the time, John Kasich, was doing, and that was bringing business to Cleveland to reinvent itself. And it has paid off for all of us. So when you're looking at value between the two, Cleveland has a little bit more value in rent, a little bit more value in play in equity, a little bit more value in affordability when compared to Columbus. But we're only talking about, a couple hairs. It's not drastic value. Nothing wrong with Columbus. Not at all. So great question, by the way. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, if you have any questions or anything, you've never had a free consultation, um, take advantage of it. You can go to our website or you can call or email just requesting one. If you had one before, we do charge for it. But otherwise, we have webinars every 2 weeks. And then in just about 6 weeks' time, we'll be in Cleveland. Hope to see you there. Have a blessed night.